Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulullah wa ba'd. About 90% of severe jinn possession cases, where you have the jinn manifesting and causing a lot of problems, havoc, chaos, and patients don't know what to do, and the families don't know what to do, don't know how to solve the problem. 90% of those severe jinn possession cases is all down to the patient's sins. That's what's causing the problem. It's got nothing to do with having big jinn, having a big fat jinn inside the patient. It's got nothing to do with having multiple jinn. It's got nothing to do with having a particular dangerous shaitan in there or an ifrit. No, it's all to do with sins. So if you want to get a hold of this situation, you want to improve this situation of the patient, what the patient has to do is to try to identify those sins which they're doing, stop them, make tawbah, get back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, improve their iman, stop sinning, and then you'll see that the situation will change completely. Like a 180-degree change. It's a really big difference. And some people, because this advice is just so simple and it's just so basic, that people don't believe it. That's why you have many people, many patients, and it's still happening. They just going around in circles. Now, I've written about this in my article, How Sins Affect Possessed Muslims and Why Jinn Speak in Them. I've spoken about it, and there's some research, and there's some table of results there, which I did on my patients. That information is not really out there. People are still going around in circles. We've got people who've been possessed for a long time, maybe 20 years, and they still have the same problems. Meaning, if you just read a little bit of ruqyah on them, the jinn starts manifesting and talking and going crazy. And they have problems in the house, and sometimes maybe they will take all of their clothes off and run outside naked. All to do with sins. Now, you might wonder, how come the Raqis don't know anything about this? Some don't know about this information. Some just don't have the information. And some of them, sadly, it might be not in their interest to, think and to take up this opinion regarding the issue of sins, because then it means that they're not needed for ruqyah. So they may be not inclined. Maybe they know it or they don't know it. They're not inclined to follow that opinion, because if the person stops his sins, then they will be able to do their own self-ruqyah themselves. They won't need to go to a raqi for ruqyah. You see. So if you know anyone who's dealing with a severe jinn possession case, and the jinn is speaking, causing a lot of chaos and havoc in the house, a lot of problems, people are, families going, really upset, the patient's going in and out of mental hospital, what you need to tell that patient is, stop sinning. And what we mean by sins is doing major sins, like zina, doing the major, drinking alcohol. You know what the major sins are: lying, backbiting, mistreatment of parents, husband, spouse, children, oppressing Muslims, doing major sins, and also continuously doing the same minor sins, like for instance listening to music, or a man shaving his beard. You see, if they continuously do these things, and then these minor sins will end up becoming major sins. You see, so if you know anybody who is in that sort of situation, he's really there are many people in this situation, then what you need to tell them is to just focus on sins. Now, they may not accept that information straight away, because it's difficult to accept. What, it's just the sins? Yes, it's just the sins. Sins make you weak, iman weak, and then the jinn will have power over you. That's what it is. Basic, very basic. It's not very difficult at all. You see, it's so simple that some people reject it. I have to be honest with you. It's that simple that people reject it. So if you know anybody like that who's going through a lot of problems with jinn possession, who's having a tough time, and the family's having a tough time, try to tell them about sins and tell them the advice about sins, and also advise them to read my article, How Sins Affect Possessed Muslims.